morning, everybody. Just wanted to take a few minutes to work on slicing up some papaya to put onto my food dehydrator. I got a fresh papaya the other day. Um, and it's nice when you can have something fresh like that to be able to use. So I wanted to do a couple of layers of that for the dehydrator. I'll do the slicing and then I'll add it on a little later, I suppose. You know, I just cut across and cut it open, and that's why you can see the seeds that are in there. I'll put those seeds aside for something else later. Digging out any other extra little stringy bits from the inside, and I just slicing it really thin because I want to be able to put it on the dehydrator and have it dry out in a reasonable amount of time. My plan is to only to dehydrate part of the papaya today because the rest of it will more than likely eat for breakfast. One of the things that I really enjoy about papaya is when I was a little girl, we did a lot of road trips, and while we were on those road trips, we would have fried chicken and papaya, dehydrated papaya. So that was my first experience with dehydrated foods. And again, just placing them separated on the tray. Slice it nice and thin so that way it will dry decently. But because of the extra juicy, fleshy nature of the papaya, it might take 2 days for it to fully dry. Because you do want it to be fully dried out. And then you can take it, bag it up, take it to work, or a picnic, or whatever. I really need this here. Just nice thin slice. Has a little bit of thickness to it because I don't want it to be potato chip thin. When it dries thick like this, it has a really good consistency and it's just so delicious to eat when you're out and about. You don't have to add sugar or anything to it because the natural goodness and sweetness of the papaya, it does it all for itself. And again, back with the center, and I'm taking my little mini scoop, and you can use a spoon for this too, and pulling out all the seeds and just setting the seeds here on the side. I like the little scoop. It just makes it really, really easy to do. But as I said, a spoon also works just as well. Because then I can just take my knife and cut a couple of thinner rings. And then I'll just slice the rings in half. Or even a quarter. So then they can just go on the dehydrator and do their thing. I want it to be a little bit thinner, so just making it a little thinner cuts down on some of that drying time. And my plan is to do this with most of this papaya, and the remainder I'll eat with some oranges for breakfast. along with my coffee. But once it's all done, since I have the kind of dehydrator where you just plug it into the wall, put the top on it, and make sure that it's set that all the air ventilation holes are open, cover it, and let it go. And then come back and check on it from time to time. It'll, like I said, because papaya is so full of juice, very juicy, very flavorful, it might take a couple of days. Where with some things, it only takes like a few hours. Like with kale and collard greens, they dry much quicker because they're already thinner in nature. Apple may take a day. Papaya is much more juicy than an apple. It's juicy, kind of like pineapple. I mean, it's pretty juicy, so it takes longer. But in the end, then I have that nice treat, and it's something that I'll put away. I always do leave part ready for now that I can eat and enjoy. Dehydrate the rest for later because I really don't like wasting food. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have prepped up, and if you have not prepped up, I hope you're working on organizing your stuff, organizing your food, taking inventory of what you have. How long does the food that you have, how long do you think will it last for you? Because there has been a supply chain shortage, and I've been talking about it since the fall. And I had actually talked to truck drivers in the fall who telling me about the decreasing number of drivers, and that was the reasoning why a lot of the shelves were empty, or there was a lot of front line where there were things placed in the front, and you pulled the first item, and there was nothing behind. They were front line and trying to save other things so that they can kind of keep a flow of things going through, so that when there's need, people be able to come and get something, and they made it all the way through December, which is great. But now it is much more obvious and much more prevalent in the stores that there's a lot of stuff that's just not there. There is a whole lot of stuff that is limited supply, or they're unsure of when they will have an added supply. So these are things to be really seriously considering at another train, because it's convenient to be able to go to the store every 2 or 3 days and pick up a little of this and a little of that. But the reality is, we need to have more for if serious situations go down. You need to have more, like if you're on prescription medication and you're not able to receive your medication, it would be a good idea to have backup plan, or see if your doctor can give you 3 months worth at a time. People that get it through the mail usually get like 3 months worth at a time, but there's some medications that they do not allow to be distributed in that way. Then, looking at your diet. What are you eating? Are you eating things that are harmful for you, or for helpful for you? I changed my diet, and although, I'm not some svelte, thin supermodel, I have lost weight, and my overall health has improved. My heart has improved. Um, I was on a lot of medication before, and now I'm not. So things are going in a better way for me. So I'm just saying that's something to consider. If you want to be healthier, and you are currently on a lot of medication, ask your doctor what you would need to do to make that change. And if you're hesitant about going to see a doctor, get some health and nutrition books. Go online and look some things up on WebMD, for how to eat healthy. You can Google things. You can go to the Library of Congress website, because they have all it's a kind of a repository for all knowledge on all subjects and all books and all printed materials. And you can find what you need so that you can know what to work with. I go to thrift stores, so I get books like the Back to Eden book that talks about how to eat as they did, following biblical principles, and it's helped me. Like I said, my blood pressure was 112 over 80 today. There was a time when it was over 200. It was severely high. So, and all I did was change how I eat and start walking more. Try to exercise more. You don't have to have a fitness membership. Um, you can exercise more in your own home, lifting canned goods or walking and cleaning. Get your body moving. If you haven't been moving, get your body moving. But especially eating healthier foods. If you're eating whole foods, fruit, vegetables, if you're eating healthier things, it makes a big difference. And yeah, we still want to have things like, stir fry and pot stickers and pizza and all of that. Yeah, I can understand that. We still want that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is really fun and it's really delicious. That's when you take the time to learn how to prepare those things for yourself. If you go by a thrift shop, look for the Betty Crocker cookbook. Betty Crocker, and I'm not being paid, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I don't receive any funds for doing any of my videos. I'm just talking about my own experience and what's worked for me. And Betty Crocker, the Betty Crocker cookbook breaks down a lot of stuff. Yes, it's an older book. It's been around forever, but the recipes, the content that's in that book are really good. Um, and it's something that can be applied to your daily life if you're wanting to learn how to prepare more things. If you never made a pot roast and you want to know how to make a pot roast, you can find out. If you've never made fish soup and you want to learn how to do that, you can probably find that too. I'm not a fish soup type of a person, no. I'm a fish type of person, or salmon croquette or whatever. But you know, there's a lot of options out there. Look at the little free libraries in your neighborhood. Those little teeny boxed houses that look like little tiny houses that people have their front walkway. Those are options where you might find a book on helpful for healthy eating. So just some things to consider um, as we go on this journey to eating good, eating healthy, and enjoying what we're eating. Because just because you're eating good does not mean that your food has to taste bland. It doesn't mean that it has to be boring. You have to use your creativity for all of that. And then also being prepared for stuff like the stores not having a whole lot of stuff, like not having some stores not having sugar, some stores not having half and half, which I have been really wanting some half and half, and it's been kind of difficult to find lately in the places that I frequently go to. So those are things to consider and things to work on. But me not having half and half does not mean I'm not going to have my coffee because I'm still going to have my coffee. But I will be using the powdered milk that I've been saving with the coffee. Different types of powdered milk, don't forget, they work in different ways. So for some of them, you need to mix the water at room temperature. For some, you need to mix it with cold water. So it's important to follow the directions that are on the package so that you get the right consistency for whatever it is that you're doing. But I think I've been talking enough now, and I just wanted to check in and say, are you guys getting your stuff together? Have you done any dehydrating or even tried to do any dehydrating? Because it's just good to have a little extra. I'm not worried about greens because, as you all know, I put my stuff together. I dehydrated when it was warm. I'm not worried about other things either. I mean, peas and carrots. Did I dehydrate them? Absolutely, I did. Some I dehydrated separately, some I dehydrated together. Some of my greens I dehydrated and blended down. Peas and carrots, I have it that way. And yes, I still have a freezer. I got a couple of freezers where I can access that food. But if something were to happen and all this other food from the freezers and the refrigerator was gone, I'd still have my dehydrated food. If I became sick for some reason and was unable to get out, like what happened when I got the virus, um, people would come and leave food at the doorstep, which was very, very nice. But I couldn't hardly breathe, so getting out there to get the food was kind of difficult. So, so I was able to pull out my crock pot, put a handful of dehydrated vegetables, including some of my dehydrated onion, add some water, put the lid on, and just turn it on and rest. And as everything cooked, the aromas filled the place. And even though initially I couldn't smell anything, because I had the virus. Later, when I was able to smell things, it was just a wonderful smell. I was able to get a cup of soup as I needed it and sit back down or lay back down and relax. And eventually I did get better. But my needs were met and I didn't have to be in a panic about not having something that I needed during that type of emergency. So I don't know if you considered all those sorts of things, but those are some serious things to consider. Getting some seeds. Yes, I understand it's not outdoor gardening season right now for most people, but if you can get some seeds now, get your few flower pots and have them in your home, in your living room, or whatever. Put a seed here or a seed there. If you don't have the hydroponic gardening system like I have, you can do just as well with a pot and some regular seeds and start growing a little bit of herbs or something. Grow some basil, some cilantro. It's easy. You can grow some lettuce in your living room. That way you're having fresh greens. So if the stores are out of greens or if something is questionable, because as we know, there are so many food recalls sometimes that it makes things really difficult. So it's good to just be able to have a backup plan or some options where you can say, yeah, I grew this and it tastes fantastic. Um, it's not going to just pop up overnight. It'll take a month or two, depending on what kind of thing you're growing. If you have a grow light, if you're putting it in your window where you can get the natural sunlight, if you're using like some kind of a LED light or something, but I have, like I said, the hydroponic system, so it has the grow light built over top of it, not the purpley black light, but it actually has a white, bright glow light that's built over top of that. And so I'm able to do several things all at once and let them stay in there and let the roots go into the water. Don't have to deal with any soil with those things and let it grow as tall as it can grow. Then I do have like a flower pot with some soil that I'm going to be trying to grow some other plants in, and I will show you more of that at another time. Well, time for me to have my coffee and finish up this papaya and have some orange. Hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon.